Hi, I'm Will, and I like toys. If you can't tell from all the boxes and packages and overflowing shelves behind me, I collect a lot of different toys. I've got toys that are worth a lot, and I've got toys that are worth next to nothing. But there are a handful of toys that are super special in my collection to me, and I'm going to talk about some of them. I'd say most of these are ones that are important because they meant something to me and I've had them since I was very young, and some are just because they're favorite characters of mine, and or something odd and weird, and they're hard to find. And these are toys I would never part with. I'd never get rid of. I'd never sell. Um, I do have a lot of toys that I think at some point might their value to me and what they bring to me might get offset, and some of them might get sold. If you've been following any of my videos, I've been selling Transformers, still going well. I've still got about 35 to 40 Transformer sales still operating, but we have made back our money and we are fully in profit. And I even, like I said, have gotten to keep some, which is great. Okay, so we're going to start with probably one of my oldest action figures that I've had for a very long time. He's seen some better days, but I think for a lot of people this character is usually a first. Batman. This is my Michael Keaton 1989 movie Batman. There were multiple different versions released with different heads, but this is the sort of rounded, more Keaton-y head. I've got a fabric cape, and you'll notice he has a hole here. That's because he had a grappling hook belt that you could attach to something and he would zip up. A belt broke off. I have fond memories of my mom buying two of these, one for me, one for my brother, while we were in like a Toys R Us as kids. And I have had him since. And he's a favorite of mine. Not the most posable, but as a kid, he was one of my first action figures. And the fact that his legs could bend all the way back and had those bends was really big to me. I do have a Joker figure and a Robin figure from around the same era, that I've also had for most of my life. Robin and Batman usually sit right up there next to Bone and the alien from Tex. But I brought Batman down for this. Big fan. One day, maybe I'll find the figure of Bob, the Joker's goon, from the movie, and be able to add him to my collection. Another figure from that era, or not figure, vehicle from that era that I would love to own is they made for Batman Returns, when the Penguin and he goes against the Penguin and Catwoman and Max Shrek. McFarlane's making a bunch of modern toys now for them. They made a plane that's an umbrella that the Penguin can fly, and the Penguin figure they put for that movie looks more like the classic Burgess Meredith Penguin, who I do have a Mego of right there. That was my uncle's when he was a kid. And less like the Danny DeVito black and white Penguin. But the vehicle, that's a plane, that's an umbrella, is really cool. And one day I hope I can get that. Let's see. Next, I have another figure that I've had for a really long time, and who took a tumble down the stairs when I was a kid, and broke in half, causing many tears, and my mother glued him together, and that same glue still holds today. It is King Louie from Tailspin. I love the Disney Adventure and Disney Saturday morning cartoons. Thank you for drinking water through this part, Luna. Like DuckTales and Tailspin and Gargoyles and Chippendale Rescue Rangers and Goof Troop. But I don't own many figures from Tailspin. I'd love to get some more like Baloo, Cloud Kicker, Don Carnage. But I have Louie. I don't have any of his accessories because my mom regularly took the accessories away from toys and got rid of them because she thought we were going to lose them. And yeah. But so Louie took a tumble down the stairs, and you can see there's still a little hot glue. But yeah, she hot glued him, but all his joints still work, and he is in pretty dang good condition, and he sits on my desk. I see him every day. And I've had him since I was a kid. And yeah, I have a special fondness for figures of apes and monkeys. Like I have Captain Chuck Simeon from Space Monkeys, a very less known cartoon from the 90s, who's a favorite figure of mine, and I'd love to get some more from that line. But so, yeah, King Louie. Next up, this is one that no one will know, no one will care. This is a Wendy's toy. This was a kids' meal toy from the 90s, and you popped them apart, and there were different aliens, and you can mix and match them. I had this exact character when I was little, and I had him for a really long time, and something happened where he disappeared, and I didn't have him. So as an adult, I went and I seeked him out, and I bought him on eBay to replace the one that went missing. There's something strange and fun about his design. I love the bent legs, the two toes, the sort of mitteny hands, the green tongue, the overbite, the one stalk eye, the spots. A lot of the monsters I draw nowadays have very similar expressions and similar looks. This definitely formed a lot of weird aliens and monsters. But so I have a few of these in the different styles, but this is my favorite one, and he will always be one of my favorites. Next up is something that was a birthday present from my grandma in the 90s. I liked, as if you hadn't known, a cartoon called Real Monsters. And she bought me every single Real Monsters the store had. The only one from the first series I don't have, still, is Oblina, the sort of candy cane stock character with big lips. But Crumb, this was one of my favorite figures, still is. He's got furry armpits. He had a stink to him. You could pop his eyes off, but they're on a string, and you could put them in his mouth so you could hold them, like he did in the cartoon. I can't get it to work. Let's see. This was always a feature that I thought was cool in concept, but not super practical. But this is the same Crumb I've had since I was a kid. Big fan. I love the asymmetrical design where the one arm is longer than the other. It feels like it stepped directly out of the cartoon. He sits proudly on my desk. I see him every day. Thank you, Nini. Speaking of my grandma, who's my mom's mom, and my grandfather, they apparently totally got me as a kid. Another thing they gave us, they bought some Star Wars toys. I don't know how much they know about Star Wars, but they bought a couple of figures for their grandkids. And they gave 2 to my brother and 2 to me. And my brother got Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker as a stormtrooper. He loved those. But for me, and they totally nailed this, R2-D2, C-3PO. So I have these vac metal chrome. You can see C-3PO's head is a little loose. His leg is also loose and will pop off sometimes, which is great because it's almost like a built-in feature for the later movies where he gets dismantled. And then R2-D2, and he's got sort of the light port, so the light piping, so when you shine a light through here, his eye glows, and he has a retractable foot, which is great. These are the same R2-D2 and C-3PO I've been playing with since I was very little. They're the Kenner ones, they're Power of the Force, great figures, they sit on my desk, and it started a whole thing of me loving the astromech droids. So I still collect the astromechs, specifically the weird Disney ones. This is a ghost one from Halloween from a few years ago. And even on the most recent Disney trip we took, I bought a pack of astromechs. And it's all because of Nini and Papa and just giving these to us on a vacation when we visited. Absolutely love these. These are toys I will never get rid of. So next up is we're going to take a jump past childhood and go to an oddity. My favorite band is the Aquabats. If you don't know who they are, they're great. They are a ska, punk, beach, techno, rock. They've had a lot of variations over the years, but they dress up in blue rash guards and funny masks and fight giant monsters and have funny code names like Crash and Chainsaw and Eaglebones, Falcon Hawk, and Jimmy the Robot and MC Bat Commander. Well, at maybe the first Aquabats show I ever went to, I bought a shirt, but I also bought Little Bat, their mascot. And this is the only toy they've ever made. And he's sort of a stress ball material, and he's got these little, very simple plastic legs. But he has sat on my desk. He has sat in various apartments, on dressers, on mantelpiece, like in places of honor. But yes, this is Little Bat, the Aquabats mascot, and it is a very weird, odd toy, and I will never get rid of it. It's still going to be my favorite band till I'm 150. Next up is another thing that this is a rare thing. There was an action figure company called Shocker Toys. They're infamous for not producing stuff, not paying their artists and licensees and licensors. So they would license a character, like the Max, the big purple guy from MTV, who also had an Image comic from Sam Keith. Go to produce figures, do this whole big hype up about like, oh, we're the only company making indie characters into figures, which is not true anymore. It's a huge thing. And Toy Biz at the time even sort of jumped the gun and did the same thing, making comic book heroes figures. You can see I have a Savage Dragon from that line, and I have a Madman and a few other characters from that line. But they made one of their first characters was Scud the Disposable Assassin. He is a robot from a timeline where you can buy assassin robots from vending machines. You tell them who you want them to kill. They kill it, and then they explode. He even has this fun little warning label on his back that says, "Attention, Scud Disposable Robot Assassin Heartbreaker Series 1373. This unit will self-destruct upon termination of target." And there's a whole comic series about him where basically he sees that warning label on his back, and he goes, well, I'm not going to kill my target. I don't want to die. He basically gains sentience. And so he wounds his target mortally, puts it in a coma, and then takes other jobs for like the mob and assassins and hitmans and exterminator jobs to pay the hospital bills to keep this weird monster named Jeff, who is his target, alive. This is basically the only figure they've ever made of him. Shocker Toys also made one that was like posed and came in the vending machine, but this is a articulated one. It's got these tiny joints, and the joints pop out. He has interchangeable hands, and there's even a Chase variant of him who is another assassin droid from that comic, who he has almost sort of a spy versus spy vibe with, named Soul. And I have Soul. You can see it's the same body, but the head is sort of flipped. It has the same sort of warning label on his back. But, sorry, all dusty. Don't clean my office very much. But so I have Soul, and I have Scud, and they're cool figures. They're fun to play with. They're fun to pose. And that company doesn't exist anymore. They were famously served a bunch of papers during a panel at a Comic-Con. And I have a few figures from this company. I have both of these. I have Shadowhawk, who you can see he hangs right there below the Muppet. Super Patriot is one of the legendary comic book hero figures, too, from the Savage Dragon series. I have the Max, and I have the Tick from this series. I don't have Dick Tracy, I don't have Kabuki, or, was it Kachu, maybe? Because they, like I said, they went out of business, didn't make many, huge problems. But yeah, I met them at various Comic-Cons and toy fairs, and traded, and I think the only one I bought was the Max. But all the others that I've had from this company were freebies. So I was very happy to have these. Next up is another fun oddity. Not so much rare, but it has become more valuable. Is up here you can see various monsters. These are the Gorgonites from Small Soldiers. They're the monsters that the human soldiers fight in that movie. Great movie, love it, it's a cult classic, to me it is. I want to have all the Gorgonites. I always liked them. They're peaceful, they're weird, they're fun, they've got odd personalities, they're against war. I am missing two. I'm missing Ocula and Troglodyte, who is also known as Freakenstein on the figure. Because he gets torn apart and rebuilt with a radio. Ocula, they only ever made Ocula as a Burger King toy who's a bendy. Thank you, Luna. Yeah, you have thoughts? Thank you. And Troglodyte, Freakenstein, they made in two colors. One that's a little more cartoony and one that's a little more of a dark tone. I'd be fine with either. One day I'm going to get them. I'm missing parts for some of these, like Slam Fist, this guy. He's missing his Rock Fist. But I have Archer, I have Insaniac, I have Fletchu, I have Slam Fist, I have Scratch It, and then probably my favorite, Punch It. There's something about the color scheme on this guy, this big sort of purple orc, troll, rhino, prehistoric thing, and he's got this great, like, sort of marbling in his skin. He's missing his little saddle that his little two-legged buddy Scratch It sits in, and he's got all this fake molded in articulation, which always bothers me, because if you're gonna make a toy of a toy, give them the articulation. But he's one of my favorites. He's a big beefy boy. I love the armor. But yeah, his head turns, and he's a big figure. But so he's one of my favorites. He sits up there, and I don't think I'll ever sell or get rid of the Gorgonites. There's a special place in my heart for them. I have a lot of fond memories of going to a little variety store in the town I grew up in, and them, when Small Soldiers came out, having a full wall, and it feels very much like the toy store in the movie, where there's just like a full display of the figures. And I only ever bought one. I bought Brick Bazooka. He's the only Commando Elite I still own. But the Gorgonites, after I saw the movie, big fan. So I have collected a bunch of them. But he's one of the few who has more articulation than others, because you're supposed to be able to, like, sort of pose him like he's going to charge. Yeah, he's a favorite of mine. Now we're going to take a trip back down to the final two figures on this list of favorite toys that I will never sell. And they hold special places in my heart from childhood. One of them has become a lot more collectible, and that is Snailians. In the 90s, after Ninja Turtles were a success, every animal got a mutant version. Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Biker Mice from Mars, dinosaurs and motorcycles, extreme dinosaurs, even creepy crawler, like street sharks. I've seen them all. I like them all. I have toys of most of them. Snailians was one that didn't get a show, but got a series of these little rubber figures. And there are 4 good guys and some bad guys. The good guys, the Snailians, all are named after presidents, but specifically presidents on coins, because they're tiny little guys, and they land on Earth in a backyard, and they protect these little guys. These little guys, each one of the Snailians came with one. They have a little village under a porch. And how do I know all this? Well, because Snail Francisco is the name of the place, and they all came in with these little fun comic books, which are so great. So let's see if I can find a picture of the art in this. Is so much fun. Yeah, so there's like a little city, Snail Francisco, that lives under the floorboards and in the backyard. And there's little, like, sort of termite guys. And these evil space ticks, the lunar ticks, come to Earth to attack them, and then the Snailians come and they protect them. And the Snailians are these ripped, sort of humanoid snail characters who, you may say, well, how are they snails? They're just these, like, weird guys. Well, they also have detachable armor. So they've got their shells. And this is Jefferson, because, like I said, they're all named after presidents, but they're all specifically named after presidents who are on coins. So there's Roosevelt, Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson. Oh, man. Does the armor not attach anymore? I did accidentally break some little pegs on this armor. But so this is his armor, and you can see it's a little finicky. And then they each came with a little sidekick. This is Jet, his sidekick, and they attach right there on the front. But so I've had this. I bought this in like a dollar store as a kid on like a family road trip or something. I think my brother bought some thumb wrestlers of Jake the Snake and Hulk Hogan, and I bought this. But so I'm a big Snailians fan. These have picked up collectability in the last few years. They used to be really cheap. I only have one other, and it is Washington. I have Washington and his armor and Sparks, his little sidekick. You can see their wrestling pants are a little different. Their sort of weird facial hair and eyebrows are different. But Jefferson is my favorite. I've had him since I was a kid. But what's great about these is so they came with, let's see, the important safety booklet. They came with these little rubber launchers, so you could launch the little guys at each other, or they had projectiles. And so they had these little projectiles, and you could attach them to the guy, and the guy was supposed to launch in the air, and they were encouraging kids to launch these projectiles at each other. and that is bananas to me. But so, yeah, the Lunatics and the Snailians, and this is called issue 1. They never made more. And what's also heartbreaking, this is from 1992. On the back, they advertised the vehicles. The escargot and the snail star. I would have loved these. And they said coming in late 1993. They never made these. I would love someone to pick up this license and make these. Please make me some Snailians. But yes, the Snailians, they get trapped on Earth. They can't go home. And then they are named heroes by the little creatures, the little bugs. And they get their names from the creatures. They didn't have names. But so they got their names. And this is one of my... I love the artwork on this. I love the way these characters look. I've been a big fan since I was little. But one day I'll get Roosevelt and Lincoln. Lincoln's got the green one who's got the Lincoln beard. But I love Snailians. Then my final one, probably my favorite toy of all time. He's seen some shit. It is Toy Biz Yellow and Blue Wolverine. And his elbows don't... Does this one work? One of them works. This one works. But it is glued together. He broke in both elbows so many times. He's got paint chipped. He's the best there is at what he does, and what he does is get played with and get the crap kicked out of him. And much like Wolverine, he will refuse to die. But yeah, I have had this since I was a child. I have a lot of fond memories of playing with him inches away from the TV screen and reenacting the X-Men opening with that iconic theme song. And he is my favorite toy of all time. And favorite action figure. I have other favorite toys, but he's my favorite action figure of all time. If I could only save one action figure from my collection, it would be this beat-up Wolverine that I hot glued, super glued, and repaired countless times as a kid. This side I did a bad job. His elbow does not rotate. He's got his spring-loaded claws. He had a feature on the back where you could hold and he would click, and you could move this, and it would make his arms swing about and swipe. Yeah, Luna? And he had a little weapon at one point, but my mom took all the accessories away. But so yeah, this is when I think Wolverine. This is how he looks. This is how he is. This is my Wolverine, and he's my favorite. So these were some of my favorite toys I would never part with, toys I will keep till the end of time. And I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you ever see Snailians, definitely worth checking out. They're so weird and so silly. God, I wish that they would. Okay, let's see. Who owns them? Abrams Gentile Entertainment. I don't know if you still own them. Please, please bring back Snailians. Send it to someone like Nacelle or NECA or 9 to 5 Warriors or Big Bad Toy Workshop or somebody. Somebody pick up this license. Make these again. Make the vehicles. Make some fun reissues. Some highly articulated ones that come with little coins. That'd be so cool. But yes. So these are my favorites. I hope everyone's doing well. And as always, I'm Will, and I like toys.